Hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, whenever, wherever you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is now our 12th working group as we are preparing for our HeroX Community Energy Innovation Prize. And this is actually going to be our last working group because the deadline for submission is here in just a couple of hours. And I think I actually have a countdown timer here going for that. Yeah, let me bring that up here real quick just for fun. So here we go. 4 hours, 46 minutes, clock is ticking. So that being said, I'm going to just get right into it here real quick. And join with me on our working group today is Tyler and Amy. So let's go right over here. We use Notion for doing our agenda, but truth be told, we just had a working group on this here and some conversation. And the main thing that we're going to talk about is our impact plan. So the impact plan, as far as how the things get scored, and we talked about went through the rules the other day. I'm going to actually bring that open here real quick as far as the rules so that we can take a look on that. So here's a word count, and let me bring that open. So here are the PDF rules, and it's scored 100 points are possible, and the video is 15 points, so 15%. Actually, it's 90, so it might be a little bit higher than and I don't know. It seemed like that there was, oh, I think that I was actually looking at a different section the other day. So let me just rewind all the way back up here to make sure in the right one. So we're submitting under the clean energy ecosystem track and scored submission items. So 90 points possible, scored across these elements: 15 points for the video, 25 for team and experience, 30 for proposed activities, and the criterion 3, resources and capabilities to implement proposed activities. So anyway, let's the impact plan is the majority of the points, and that's what we're gonna hop right over here to right now. So this is the template that was provided for this, and this is something that I uploaded to the Google Doc. And let me make this a little bit bigger here. So the table of contents, this is something that we were having a little bit of discussion about, and I think that there's still a little bit more of opportunity, and this is something that I'm going to take a look at, but this is where we're adding most of the details here is in, because this is the only thing that's scored in here is section 3, the impact plan. So the short description provided already. So I'm going to just jump right in here to the proposed activities and goals aligned to the prize reward. So let me just bounce down to that section. So this is the suggested content from the template. A description of how the proposed activities work toward achieving at least one of the goals, a description of planned activities, metrics to measure, and milestones to complete as a SMART goal, which is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. A description of credible mechanisms to evaluate the competitor's progress of activities through the prize, an engagement and outreach plan that the competitor will use to build trust and strengthen relationships and partnerships with community members and other relevant stakeholders, and a description of how the proposed project enables a just and equitable transition to a clean energy economy in the relevant community and region. So I can't remember how much of the details that we had here from our previous working group, but one of the ways that we establish community trust is through this format right here using our Zoom and live stream format. So real quick, I did want to summarize and this was something that I had up briefly, but I'm going to go back here real quick. So the submission allows for 5,000 words, and let me bring this on to the screen. This is something that just assess. So right now we're only at 1,175 words. So we have a lot of opportunity to continue to add meat into our submission. That's one of the things that we only have a few hours to do. So we will see what we can get added and really just trying to communicate our execution strategy. And some of these details we might have in some other places that we can copy in here. So going back here, so we've got lots of opportunity to add some details. And as you can see, we've got some details in some of these sections, but like these sections right here, literally just added these because these are some of the things that are on our roadmap, but these weren't in this document at the start of this conversation just a few minutes ago. So I'm trying to look here real quick. So this is one of the things here that we can do. We had our working group the other day for our Kickstarter, and I saw that Double D popped on here. This is something, Double D, the images for our Kickstarter. And from a timeline, that's one of the things that we should include on here, because one of the things that we are planning to do, Kickstarter really recommends a 30-day, and I'm going to just put on here, let's see, planned Kickstarter campaign window, and we'll put start on, and I'm going to just pull open a calendar here real quick. So this is the Gigs Go Green, or the Web3 Freedom Club right now. Our main project is Gigs Go Green here in 2024, and I don't anticipate that that will change. So one of the things that I like doing is kind of working from the end in mind. We've got a 30-day time frame. One of the things that is very important right now, we're planning our security token offering to launch on February 22nd, and that's in anticipation of ETH Denver. So would really like to see the Kickstarter launch, potentially maybe even a week prior, and then that would give us basically almost 2 weeks, because here's Friday. So I'm thinking right now of 2/15 to 3/15, and the value proposition of going to March the 15th is if HeroX maintains, and let me actually just go to that window here real quick. Got a lot of windows open. Let's see what it is. I'll just open the window here real quick. So here's our team. I'm going to throw this link in here because I don't think you're on the team officially here right now, Double D. So make sure you send a join request so that we can get you added to our official team. There's a link for that. So the other thing that I was wanting to do was look at the timeline. So looking at the timeline, March 7th, clean energy ecosystem. Let me make this bigger here for everybody. So this is what we're talking about right now. March the 7th, clean energy ecosystem and manufacturing system tracks concept phase winner announcement. So the thoughts are by having our Kickstarter campaign go to March the 15th, that would provide another week to utilize, if we get a win on our HeroX submission, that would provide an opportunity for us to provide an update on the Kickstarter and then do some additional marketing to finish out strong on the Kickstarter campaign. So from a timing standpoint, I think that I'm going to just put that in there. Does anybody have any additional thoughts as far as the let's see, planned Kickstarter campaign window equals 2/15/2024 to 3/15/2024. And then planned Kickstarter rewards. And I'll put in these details here later. And again, like I said, Double D, we'll get a couple because we want to have Kickstarter, from what I understand, has the capability of having a unique image for each reward item. And I'm going to just put in here the Gigs Go Green Movement NFT. And we're gonna call this Gigs Go Green NFT. I backed the movement on Kickstarter.com 2024 Q1. So that's what I'm thinking of calling the NFT right there. I really like that because I thought about calling it a newsletter. That's the primary functionality because one of the things that a lot of people, I don't think, really understand the utility that NFTs can provide. And a lot of people are familiar with a newsletter. So that's going to be our, and I'm going to just put in here $7 that we'll put in here, and I'm not going to fill in all these details. So again, I'll get some bounties on DWork created for that, and we'll have. I'm not sure right now if we're going to have, because I put a little placeholder for a working group for Kickstarter on Sunday. I don't know if that's going to happen, but really wanting to get, because my belief here is we get a home run on our Kickstarter, that will just create a social proof to really amplify everything that we're doing. And I'm not going to attempt to unpack that anymore right now because we are working under a deadline. So this is one of the things, establish organizational governance. One of the things, and we had a little bit of side conversations about doing a working group series here the second and third week of February, with doing the Kickstarter here and making the Kickstarter go to March the 15th. The way that Kickstarter works is Kickstarter is an all or nothing crowdfunding dynamic. So this is one of the things that we're really wanting to utilize Kickstarter to demonstrate traction. The money will be nice, but what'll be even more important, in my opinion, is onboarding new members and demonstrating traction. So where I was going with that is I would really like to have potentially as many people on this as possible. So I'm going to put in here a window of, let's see, target window for 5 1-hour working groups for this governance series equals, and it might even be better to, and here's the thing, we don't want to wait too long because we really want to hit the ground running with this. But the thoughts is to potentially have maybe a week or two to do an onboarding with the new members that join through the Kickstarter campaign. So right now I'm kind of thinking, and let me look at the calendar on this. So maybe April 1st to the 15th. What's your thoughts on that, Amy, Tyler, Double D? So this doesn't have to be set. Okay, thanks, Tyler. So target window for 5 1-hour working groups for this governance series equals 4/1 to 4/15. And this is one of the things too that we have some, just to kind of go off on a slight tangent, not necessarily related to the working group or the Community Energy Innovation Prize, but and since we're talking about organizational governance, entities, and we are huge proponents of using a legal wrappers for our online communities. What do I mean by a legal wrapper? So we're going to be onboarding these community members into our DAO. And this is one of the things that I've got a nice Euler diagram here. So gigs go green. So the NFT, I back the Kickstarter, will provide people the opportunity to vote in some initial governance. And this is one of the things through that working group series that we're going to get documented. So anyway, and then also we're going to have our Colorado PBCs, our public benefit corporations that are organized as a limited cooperative association. So that's one of the things, again, going to be getting documented. But where I was going with this thought is that we do have a requirement to create an initial organizational bylaws for our Colorado PBC public benefit. And I'm going to just start calling it public benefit cooperatives. And I'm going to see if there's any compliance challenges with that. I'll send an email to Jeff Pote, who is our attorney that's primarily providing legal expertise for public benefit corporations and limited cooperative associations here in Colorado. So anyway, keeping on going through this here, and so the next main step is creating community ownership with regulation crowdfunding on Chainraise. So Chainraise is the regulation crowdfunding platform that we will be providing, and this is obviously something that we can add substantial more details in here within that as far as what that looks like. But the plan on that is to planned regulation crowdfunding window equals 2/22/24 to 2/21/2025. So regulation crowdfunding provides 1 year of a window for us to do our, it's functionally a security token offering, and it won't technically become a security token until the offering is concluded. And that's something that we have the opportunity to really unpack through the onboarding of our community members and investors. And that's one of the things that we're going to be very intentional about, creating some framework surrounding. I'm going to put a goal here. Goal is to ideal investor goal equals 5,000 gig workers who invest 1,000 each, equals sold out offering of 5 million. 5 million equals max can raise for each Colorado PBC. Max can raise for each entity via regulation crowdfunding. There, that's more accurate. So the next section is expand the Gigs Go Green movement with GoFundMe. Provide screenshots of Yonk's campaign, currently live, plus be his thank you foldable business cards. Goal is to educate gig workers to expand their narrative so that instead of a tip, please go fund me. So the thoughts on this is one of the things that going to be providing via one of the member benefits that we're going to be providing via Tesla Black and being involved in this Gigs Go Green ecosystem is helping gig workers, Uber and Lyft drivers to really become content entrepreneurs. So one of the content things that we're going to help them create is their own GoFundMe. And I don't actually have a card here. I would hold it up for everybody as far as what that looks. We'll be talking more about that here in coming times. So then the next expand scope of gig workers to include house hackers. So this is one of the things. House hacking equals a solution for affordable housing. Similar reward items as what was done for our phase 1 launching Tesla Black DAO. So the Kickstarter phase 1 is where we're going to be launching, and this is going to be phase 2 launching house hacking DAO. So let's see. And I'm going to put in another step 6, expands launch community solar club on Kickstarter. So the thoughts here with community solar is I really believe one of the unique value propositions in our model, because like when you think about most normal people that have a house that are potentially contemplating doing a rooftop solar installation, most often a rooftop solar installation will generate more energy than a normal single family house consumes. And the big value proposition with this model is that instead of sending the extra energy back to the grid at 50 cents on the dollar, so like here in Colorado, to just put a number behind things, and I don't know if this is completely accurate. I haven't spent a lot of time here in the last year or two since we've been in this place, and some of the rates have gone up. But let's say that energy is 12 cents a kilowatt hour. So Excel, when I say 50 cents on the dollar, they charge 12 cents, and then they only provide a credit of 50% of that. So like 6 cents on the dollar. So the goal with our model is to create a dynamic, because what happens if a lot of gig workers don't live in a house that they can upgrade solar on? Like, and truth be told, Tyler and I have been living in this house, and due to our socioeconomic situations, largely with us being gig workers, we've been unable to qualify for traditional financing to put a solar installation on where we're at. And I'm not going to unpack that any more than that right now. But we're expecting that we can create a model. So instead of getting 6 cents a kilowatt from Excel, could potentially get 3 times that and sell the energy through this cooperative solar EV model to gig workers at 18 cents. Now, the big value proposition is that that's almost half of what they would normally spend if they had to go to a public charging infrastructure. Like I think the Tesla supercharger, the cost for us to use Tesla supercharging infrastructure over the last year has been approximately 35 cents a kilowatt. So that's again the big value proposition with this model. And the Community Solar Club is again just following more of a formula for creating value through like newsletter and other community aspects to really demonstrate more traction with what we're doing here. And it'll be interesting to see as far as how that we want to structure the membership aspect, because basically what we're doing here is we're creating members that will roll up to Web3 community land trusts, like this ecosystem right here. And Community Solar Club is another member-based dynamic that we can incorporate within Solar EV DAO. So the goal with the Kickstarter campaign is basically to onboard members into the DAO that we can hopefully continue to provide value where they will also become investors into the regulation crowdfunding offering. So that's one of the things that going to work on packaging in here. So as far as the other steps, and let me actually add another one here. So step, let's see. So step 7, we'll put gigs go green, expansion states, expand gigs go green into additional states. So states currently on top of our expansion list include 1, New York, 2, Minnesota. And I'm not going to break out the details in this document right now, but one of the main reasons that New York is very high, we have a strong opportunity to partner with Drivers Co-op, who is launching, and Drivers Co-op is functionally a platform alternative to Uber and Lyft that's community owned, whereas Uber and Lyft are owned by shareholders as a publicly traded company. So New York Drivers Co-op, that's their main market. I believe that they've got 10,000 drivers. New York State also has very favorable community solar regulations. Community solar is really the regulation that is adopted through a state's public utility commission that will basically allow us to become the energy company through this model. So one of the things too that I would think that will be beneficial, and this is something that you and I can work on, Tyler, is incorporating the metrics into each one of these steps. Because like when you talk about success, like here, one of the goals with our Kickstarter campaign that we have imminently planned, I will consider this Kickstarter campaign a success when we onboard 100 members as Tesla Black. That's the $97 a year reward tier. And that's so I think that it may be more beneficial to incorporate a success metrics within each step. But that's something that we can take off of line. Does anybody have some thoughts as far as the steps that have outlined? I think that this is, because this last step that I just added is basically a rinse and repeat type of dynamic. I think the main difference will be that we won't do Kickstarters. We'll just do the equity crowdfunding aspect. But that's something that, again, we can really evaluate because the opportunity for us to potentially do different reward items when we get great at launching Kickstarter campaigns. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking, and we've only got a few minutes left of this working group, and I would really love to hear some input. Gone through a lot of stuff here so far today.
I think it's good. It'll be exciting to see if we can make this work.
So I just refreshed the table of contents so that we can look at the steps that have outlined here. And I'm going to just call this a multi-state expansion.
Hey, have you talked to Christian yet this morning, Jason? Or do we know if he's able to get his details on?
No, and that's one of the things that hopefully that we can grab some of the details off of his LinkedIn and incorporate that into here. Gigs go green, multi-state. Is multi-state normally hyphenated like that? I'm gonna refresh that table of contents again. Perhaps include measurable aspects within each relevant step. Double D, Amy, you got anything for us before we call this working group a wrap here?
No, I will text you when I'm done filling in the information on my part. And on the lunch team, do we put some of Nick's information there too, pulling from his LinkedIn, or do we not?
I'm not sure. I'll send him a text and see. Because I think from what I understand is that they're really wanting some stuff as far as like working with disadvantaged communities. Nick's main role as a CTO will be to really amplify gaps that I have from a technical standpoint, and I'm really positioning myself as the visionary with a title like Chief Digital Alchemist and really going to be driving the community efforts. And maybe even it may make sense to uh, put me, Tyler, with a more traditional like chief marketing officer, because really with the way that it's looking right now, with the way that we're structuring the marketing efforts with our plans of doing affiliate marketing and creating a replicable model where I'm planning to be the poster child, I think it could be very easy to. Now, the challenge is that on paper, I don't really have marketing expertise as far as what I've done professionally. Most of the stuff related to marketing has all been side projects. Well, I don't know if that's actually in, but anyway, we can take that offline, Tyler. But yeah, we've still got a substantial, as you saw there on our word count summary, to put in a lot of details. And I mean, we just literally added some of these steps here through the course of this working group today. So I just did a refresh here, bringing that over on screen. I see Double D got his, and thank you for all the stuff that you've done from a graphic design standpoint. Really appreciate that, Double D. And I just approved your join request, so we'll get you incorporated into the team submission as well. One of the limitations that we have, and this is one of the things that I'm not sure how much that want to expand, because when I started going through the rules, when I was having a side conversation with Amy, they're really wanting the supporting images to be limited to 5. And as you've seen, I've kind of sprinkled some in here. This would be one, and I don't know if we want to have some like summary of that, but that's something that we can take offline here. The other thing that we have that we didn't talk about is we need to do a one pager. And I think that we can or modify the one pager that we created with solar EV and really potentially simplify. And the goal is to kind of take the step that we see right here. And one of the things that didn't incorporate on the description here is with Web3 Community Land Trust. This is really where we're planning on having house hacking DAO, where Tyler and I have been operational house hackers ourselves, myself since 2017. And then when Tyler and I got married in 2018, we continued our house hacking journey. And it wasn't until more recently did we really recognize that there was traction, especially here in Colorado, surrounding house hacking. And we do absolutely have a housing affordability challenge here within Denver that's contributing to some of our out migration from Colorado into more affordable, with housing being the primary driver of our Denver out migration. But anyway, any other thoughts before we call this working group a wrap? We only have a couple of hours to finalize the submission. This is something that I'm confident that we'll get what we've got at that time submitted, and then we will continue to execute our plan. Because regardless of what happens from a determination standpoint, these proposed activities are activities that we are absolutely moving forward with, regardless of what happens here with the Community Energy Innovation Prize. And again, the determination should be on March the 7th, and I'm excited to hopefully provide an update on our soon-to-launch Kickstarter that we have social proof through this. And anyway, I'm going to stop talking and provide you all some opportunity to contribute before we finalize. This has been, I can't believe it's, and I don't even remember, I'd have to take a step back because this is now will be the third HeroX that we've submitted. The first two were around the solar EV narrative, and I'm not even going to unpack how that evolved. It literally evolved over a 6-month time frame and literally dozens of conversations that we've had amongst ourselves, but then also I have many conversations in social circles to really refine the narrative and with people. I mean, I also have these conversations with passengers. I personally was driving myself, and that's actually how I got to and I'm gonna go on mute here real quick. But before I do that, I'm gonna just bring open the GoFundMe here as far as some closing thoughts. But anyway, would love to hear anything that Tyler, Double D, or Amy you've got before we call this a wrap.
If you needed anything done by Double D, just let him know that the deadline is today.
Yeah, and I believe Double D's main contributions, and I see you've got your mic open. Go ahead, Double D.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say. It's been a while I joined any meeting call, so I guess I have a lot to catch up with. But about image, if you need any image, just you can create a task on the work, then I'll get notified and add some description, so I'll be able to work on that.
Absolutely, and the main images that we need right now are surrounding the reward items for our Kickstarter campaign, and I will have to double check to see. I think that we've got a mini project or a project board in DWork for Kickstarter, but that's something that I'll get those tasks created, because I'm really liking our February 15th to March 15th as far as our Kickstarter window. That gives us approximately 2 weeks from today to really get our Kickstarter project dialed in. One of the main things that is a huge need and opportunity is to get an amazing 3-minute video. I personally have a deliverable here for our HeroX submission to do a 3-minute video, but I would really like to get a more refined and polished video than the one that I will likely be submitting for our HeroX submission here today. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and bring this call to a wrap today. We've got, like I said, literally a couple hours. I'm not going to bring the countdown timer on the screen, but thanks. We'll have our second working group for Kickstarter here. If it's not on Sunday, it will be pretty early here this next week, because now that we've kind of got the dates dialed in, and that's something that we're going to be, again, incorporating in. The nice thing about also launching it on February 15th is that will give us a 1-week runway time that we can market that to demonstrate traction towards launching our security token offering, because we'll likely have a board of stewards conversation here early that week prior to our 222 to ensure that that's a more of like a go no go call. But lots of stuff. February is absolutely, without a question, in my opinion, going to be a we can call February 2024 our launch month, because we're launching multiple things here in February. And this Gigs Go Green, this is the first time that we've submitted a HeroX surrounding the Gigs Go Green narrative. As I mentioned, our previous two HeroX were... Go ahead, I see you got your hand up, Double D.
Yeah, about our next working group, I really don't know what's wrong. I don't get notification on my mail about our next, about the meetings I have to join. So I don't know.
So I will take some personal responsibility for this one. This is something that we were contemplating on having a working group yesterday and then another working group here today. But Tyler and I made a last minute decision to collapse that, and I had an offline conversation with Amy to just kind of see where we were at. And this is something that I am committed to getting better at, and getting some automation surrounding some workflow, because right now it's a pretty manual process for me to create the format that we're executing under. And that's one of the things I'm really hoping to enhance, and just to like enhance the communications and really get other people within the community helping with some of this workflow and coordination for doing our working groups. So my expectation is that will get better. Also, one of the things that we're planning on doing is to get a more, like right now, we don't really have a CRM, customer relations management solution in place. And we're doing a very ad hoc mechanism. I'm not even going to unpack that, but I'll apologize publicly to you on that, Double D. And that's one of the things that committed to getting better at through tooling and automation here in 2024, as we continue to build our organizational and DAO framework that we're using to provide value through this through all these Web3 tools and systems and all of that stuff that we're utilizing to deliver worthwhile stuff. And in Gigs to Go Green, we're architecting this for the primary benefit of gig workers, and we deliver on that. I think that it will inherently gain traction and then create value for all of us to do our thing that we love doing, whether that's designing amazing imagery or hanging out with cool people on live streams. Like if I could hang out, a couple hours with cool people on live streams, that's really what I love doing. So anyway, like I said, the kick, and I don't have a lettuce meet, as you know, Double D. We really like using lettuce meet so that we can find the most inclusive time. That's an action item that I'll take here after we get our final submission here done later today, and the clock is ticking. So on that note, unless anybody has any final thoughts, we will call this a wrap, and I'll let everybody have a few seconds here before we finish off our 12th working group, our final working group for Community Energy Innovation Prize. We will have a side conversation to see if we still want to submit. One of the other things around the 215, and this just came to mind, is that we do have a team that we initially formed for another HeroX, but I'll take that offline because that's unrelated to this one and it's a very different, it's actually not an American-made challenge. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking and give you all a final opportunity to chime in before we close it up.
Thank you for all the hard work, guys. Bye, Brooke.
That's Daddy's microphone. See, like, look, you can see yourself up here. Look at that. See?
Mommy.
Yeah, there's mommy.
Beautiful baby.
Mommy.
All right.
Here.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.